Welcome to another edition of First Person, sponsored again by the Ruinkamp Farm Drainage Company in Fort Loramie. 80 years experience, we say all the time, in farm, residential, and commercial. If you got water issues, call them. They'll make water work for you. Call Phil Barhorst. From Tip City High School, or Tippecanoe High School today, with a guy that basketball fans in this area really don't need to be introduced to, because Jim Staley has coached a long time, great reputation, great record at Trotwood, at Centerville, and now the new head basketball coach, boys coach here at Tippecanoe. First of all, it's fun to sit down and talk with you. I appreciate you taking the time. It's camp, it's open gym time here. I know you're making acquaintances here and telling your story, but once upon a time, you and I go a long way back before the fact of you coaching basketball and me writing about it.
Right. We,
43 years ago, were teammates at Ohio State on the baseball team, and as I remember you, you were a pretty good knuckleball pitcher. I happened to bring one. Show people your grip.
Same as everybody else's, same one, but yeah, we were both pitchers.
Yep.
Played for Marty Carreau, who's in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and it was a great time. I thought we had good teammates, and we were okay. We weren't as good as we wanted to be.
Didn't win as many as we wanted, did we, Jim?
No, we didn't. But it was a great time, and gosh, to say you played for Ohio State's a wonderful thing.
As I remember how much fun it was sitting in that bullpen.
No, well, you know, one day in that bullpen, I don't know if you were there. You may have been pitching. But John Havlicek came out and sat with us, okay? He stayed there for 2 innings, and we talked to him and things like that. I mean, that is really neat. Frank Howard came out one time and sat in the bullpen with us. So Ohio State's special, I think.
Good stuff. Let's talk a little bit about your gig here at Tippecanoe. Tell people, and I'm sure it came as a surprise when you were named the coach here. Tell people why you're here and why you still have that desire, that burning thing to go out and compete.
First of all, it was a surprise to me when they called me. I was driving down the highway when Mr. Cronauer called me and asked me to come in for an interview. And it's something I wanted to do. I wasn't done coaching when I left Centerville. I still feel good. I still have a desire to do it. And it's fun. It's something I really enjoy doing. I've had a blast this week. You know, we're here 6 hours a day for 4 days. And it was great fun, so it's exactly like I remember it.
For the fact of basketball, your style of basketball, as I've seen over the years, you're very adaptable. Obviously, you have to be. You got big players, you can play big game. You got small players, you have to play that way.
Right.
Tell me what your prognosis is, or at least what your first impression has been about Tip basketball.
You know, first of all, I think any coach in high school, you don't, most of us at least, don't get to recruit our players. We don't know who we're going to have on our team.
Careful how you say that.
That's right. And so I think that we have to have an offensive system a lot of times that plays to the athleticism and the skill level of our kids. This whole week was us kind of looking at that skill level and that athleticism to kind of see how we wanted to play. And then I think you make an offense that fits them. Defensively, you know, I think it's the same way. You got to decide if you're going to be a team that's going to rebound the basketball, you're going to try to turn the ball over. Mm-hmm. One way or the other, you have to be able to take possession of the ball. So this week's been great. We're getting to know our kids. We still have kids so many kids here play multiple sports. There's a couple kids we still haven't met yet. So that'll be challenging for us too.
I want to talk to you a little bit about, and we're talking with Jim Staley, the new head basketball coach, boys coach here at Tippecanoe on First Person this week. I want to talk to you a little bit about the old adage where people say players are made in the summer, teams are made in the winter, and yet more players, kids are playing basketball, AAU, summer leagues, than ever before, and you hear veteran people say, yeah, they're playing more basketball, but they still don't have the requisite skills necessary to be as good as you need to be in January and February. And then for the fact of the matter, and I don't know if you disagree or agree with me, I see a lot of high school basketball and shooting percentages. Just kids don't shoot the ball like they used to. Now, as you mentioned, there's a lot of factors with that. Multiple sports, you're doing a lot of things. Maybe you don't have the time to shoot 20,000 jump shots during the year. But I would love to hear your opinion on Are we playing enough basketball, too much, or are we playing the right kind of basketball?
I think, in my estimation, kids are much more skilled today than when I started. I think they shoot the ball better. I think they handle the ball better. They're better trained. They're better conditioned. Everything about the game has gotten better. And I think it's a misnomer. It kind of gets a bad rap. We look at shooting percentages. When we put the three-point shot in, everything went down. And I think we do ourselves a disservice if we don't define for a kid exactly what his shot is. A lot of kids think they're three-point shooters and aren't three-point shooters. A lot of kids want to shoot the ball off a dribble. Well, I watched an NBA game last night. I saw one guy shoot the ball off a dribble. A lot of guys don't realize when they get in the paint, they've got to go to war a little bit and put a strong shot up. So I thought my teams have always shot a good percentage from the field. I'm not a big proponent of in-between shots, threes or drives, penetration. And the real secret to being a scorer, I think, is at the free throw line. I mean, they turn the clock off, nobody guards you, you get to go there by yourself, and you get to shoot too. I think all that stuff is so much better than when I started. I'm not a proponent that kids are not as good. AAU, there's a lot of things wrong with AAU, and there's some things that's really right with AAU. It's really nice the kid gets to put a ball in his hand in a game situation. There's a lot of things wrong with AAU. There's a lot of people, I think, in AAU, I've seen people in there for the wrong reason. There are people that make money off of AAU. There are people that have AAU clubs and coach teams who really aren't basketball coaches, who allow maybe or encourage a kid to have bad habits. I think something has happened in the state of Ohio, thanks to our Coaches Association, that will really improve the quality of play. And I want to start by taking a look at who was in the state finals this year. You see a team like Upper Arlington there. They got there all on fundamentals and skill. Not a lot of really big quality kids. Well, the state has changed and allowed us to work with our players year-round 4 at a time. That's wonderful. So we'll be able to take a kid in September and April and get a shot with him and talk to him about what's a good shot, what's a bad shot. How do you shoot a three-point shot? How do I shoot a free throw? Let's develop your ball handling skills. Let's develop your passing skills. We'll be able to do that now, and I really think you'll see the quality of the game improve.
I know you have to be pleased at the competitive challenge of being in this league here, the Central Buckeye Conference, because it has such a great tradition of rivalries. Tip has been great here, going back to their 20-0 teams a few years when Matt was here, Matt Pond, a regional team, district champions. Great tradition here. People love the game here, boys and girls. But when you look at Henry Staley at Bell Fountain and you look at some of the other matchups, Shawnee has been good, Kenton Ridge has been good over the years. Yeah. This is a good league to be in.
It's had some great coaches come through this league, I think.
And Henry Staley owes me for the mention.
Does he really? Okay. There's been some great coaches come through this league. It's a very competitive league. They know each other very, very well. And I think every year you can kind of watch as a great race. Tip came in, I think, 3rd and 4th the last 2 years. They win 16 and 17 or 18 games or something, but yet they come in 3rd and 4th in that league. Well, that should speak to that right there, okay? Also, I think the particular challenge here is not only in the league, but the fact that this is an isolated sectional tournament. It's the only, sectional tournament in Southwest Ohio where you're not thrown into a super sectional where you see, 32 teams. The challenge for us is to get out of that sectional, get to Dayton, and do something, okay? And that's what I told the kids. That's our big challenge: win the league, win the district. Let's get there, and let's start taking some steps forward that way.
A lot of people, and I mentioned this in the introduction, know you for your years at Trotwood and Centerville, but they also know your brother, who's been at CJ for a long, long time. Great coach, great guy, great personality. I'm going to ask the question, when you guys get together, what's that conversation like?
We're going to play each other this year, right? I think it's January 2nd or something here. It was on the schedule long before I got the job. That's fun. Imagine having your brother and your best friend be in your same business you are. Just imagine you can pick up a phone and call your brother and he's just interviewed somebody today. Right. I mean, that's great. So we've talked a lot for years. We started out coaching together. I started at Wilmington High School when I was, I guess I was 23, and my brother was my assistant. Okay, he drove up from Dayton every day. 2 years later, I was lucky I got the head job at 25, and Joe was my assistant. When he left there, surprisingly enough, he came to Tip City. His first coaching job was at Tip City, and he was a freshman coach. I know Frank Goldsberry was a reserve coach. So, yeah, I go a long way back with that kind of stuff, and it really is nice, and it's very competitive within the family.
Once upon a time, we sat in the bullpen together, on the bench together for Marty Carreau. It's going to be fun to sit in this gym this year and watch your teams play. Thank you again for the time. It's great to see you here. Thanks for your time today. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much, Sonny.
It's going to be fun to see. Give me that baseball a minute, because honest to God, he had a really good knuckleball. That wraps up this week's edition of First Person, again sponsored by the Ruin Camp Farm Drainage Company in Fort Laramie. 80 years of experience. As we say, they'll make water work for you. For Ruin Camps and Jim Staley, thank you again for your support of high school sports on PressProsMagazine.com. We'll see you next time with another edition.